The Iron Tomb. It was 1863 and the American Civil War was relentlessly tearing the nation apart. The South was being slowly and methodically strangled by a massive Union blockade that completely choked off all ports. Nothing was getting in and absolutely nothing was getting out. Welcome to the landing point. Once you know who they are, put their name and time that you figured out in the comments. Our man, let's call him Horace, was a wealthy New Orleans lawyer and a planter who moved his operation to Mobile, Alabama after his city fell to the Union. Horace wasn't a soldier and he wasn't a naval architect, but he possessed immense determination and the deep pockets to match. He firmly believed that to break the blockade, you couldn't just build a bigger ship. You had to build a vessel that vanished completely beneath the waters. So he poured his fortune into a highly secretive project the men simply called the fish boat. It was an absolute terrifying contraption. A custom-built iron tube barely 42 foot long and a claustrophobic 4 feet wide. The interior was pitch black and freezing cold. It was powered entirely by human sweat. 7 men jammed shoulder to shoulder on a wooden bench, turning a massive hand crank that spun the propeller, while an 8th man steered up front. And the air? There was really no air supply. A crude snorkel system barely worked, so the crew survived mostly on whatever oxygen was sealed inside the moment the heavy hatches were bolted shut. In August of 1863, the mechanical monster was loaded onto the railcar and shipped to the heavily guarded harbor of Charleston, South Carolina. And from the second it touched the water, the machine seemed cursed. On August 29th, the boat was moored at the dock with her hatch open when something went catastrophically wrong. Some said the wake of a passing steamer swamped her. Others said mooring lines dragged her over onto her side. Either way, the heavy iron tube plunged straight into the harbor bottom and 5 men drowned. The military brass was absolutely horrified and demanded the terrifying invention be scrapped immediately. But Horace refused to hear it. He had poured his fortune, his reputation, and his very soul into the vessel. He insisted that the machine was sound and argued the tragedy was simply human error. To prove his critics wrong, Horace made a fateful, devastating decision. He had the submarine raised from the mud and assembled an entirely new crew, including experienced men brought up from Mobile. And this time, he wouldn't just watch safely from the docks. On October 15, 1863, with the regular commander away, Horace climbed into the claustrophobic iron belly of his creation and took charge himself. 7 brave or perhaps foolish men followed him into the dark. They bolted the hatch shut, began turning the hand crank, and slipped quietly beneath the murky water for a routine practice dive. Watchers on the surface saw a thin trail of air bubbles trace her course downward. And then nothing. The submarine never came back up. She had buried her iron nose deeply into the unforgiving harbor mud, in 9 fathoms of water, far too deep for anyone to reach her in time. Horace and every single man aboard died in the pitch black, entombed in the very machine that was designed to save their city. 4 months later, the same submarine was raised, crewed again, and became the first submarine in history to sink an enemy warship. And then it went down for a 3rd time, with all hands. Today, it rests in a conservation tank in Charleston, still carrying the name of the man who proved it could work, Horace Lawson Hunley. And this is The Landing Point. Viewers, thank you for watching today, The Landing Point. We really appreciate it. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Roadrunner Real Estate. They are a full-service real estate company doing both commercial and residential real estate. They can help you buy, sell, or even lease your properties. So if you're in the market looking for a real estate company, please go out and give them a call. They'll happily help you today. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our social media. Obviously, we have YouTube if you're watching that today. If you haven't done so already, please go out and subscribe. It is completely free to you. There's nothing that you'll be charged or membership fees, but it does help us out so we can get our latest episodes to you quickly, and you can find out what's going on with YouTube. Our other place that we do a lot of our social media is on our Facebook page, The Landing Point. So please go out and like and subscribe or follow those, I guess I would say, so you get the latest updates. If you're a person that likes to listen to stories as you're out on the drive, we have our podcast. You can find The Landing Point out there, and it can be on most services. So once again, thank you for watching The Landing Point, and we look forward to see you on our next story.